Hello, good evening. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation live, guys. This is your international break podcast. We are still stuck. That's right, stuck in the international break, aren't we? Still international football ongoing at this moment in time. I know England and Scotland are done, but it's still ongoing. There was Northern Ireland lost to Sweden tonight. I think it's 5-1. Václav Černý in action for the Czech Republic tonight as well. He's playing against Gibraltar. I mean, in some ways, with Czechia getting absolute shit teams. They only squeezed past the Faroe Islands the other day, but they had the Faroe Islands. Now they've got Gibraltar. I mean, talk about playing the shit first. I mean, they are some poor teams, those two, aren't they? But yeah, so the Czechia, I know Czerny's in action tonight. Possible as well. Hamza could well be in action tonight as well for Morocco as they take on Burundi in the African section of the World Cup qualifying. Also, we've got last night as well. Not only did we have, obviously, the past few days, we've had Rangers players playing. Nicholas Raskin, we will talk a little bit of Nicholas tonight. Was absolute class against, obviously, Ukraine for Belgium. Apparently, MOTM played fantastic as well for the Ivory Coast in their 1-0 victory over, I can't remember who they're playing, some other African team. But Mo Diamonde apparently was absolutely excellent. Guys, look... welcome to the podcast. Welcome to this evening's podcast. I hope you are all well out there. Nice to have a few people in the live chat already. Now, as I just said on the screen, I can't pull your comments up on screen because I'm using OBS Studio tonight. That's why I put your live chat up on the actual screen itself. Reduces the size of my ugly mug up there too. We've got some comments already in the live chat. Janet says, we've got quite a few comments. Let's go back in time. Let's get the DeLorean out and travel back in time. So we've got a few different comments there. Let me just do this the best as I can do. It's not playing at the moment. There we go. Tam says the club have massively overreacted, in her opinion, with this statement they've made. The board and Patrick Stewart are an absolute embarrassment. Personally, I hope when the new owners come in, they get rid of Stewart. He's an absolute tool. Interesting comments there. Strong words. Janet says good evening to Janet as well. David, evening to David. How you doing? David says Raskin, different class. Janet would be much rather watching the Jers. Absolutely. Evening to Dado as well. How are we all this fine Tuesday evening? It is 8 o'clock, just after 8 o'clock, and we're going to talk Rangers. What we're going to talk about? I mean, what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk obviously about that statement. We're going to talk about the statement the board have put out today. What they had to say as regards the UEFA sanctions that have been put in place on the club because of the banner. We are running a poll in the live chat. Says, do you support life bans for the people who unveiled the ban at the Fenerbahce game? 29% say yes, 71% say no. I must say I am against life bans for these people. I think it's a massive overreaction from the club. I do agree. With Tamsin on that. High Troops says litigation. David says Raskin, Dio, Igaman, all 20 million plus, in my opinion. We will talk. I said we will get to Nicholas Raskin tonight. So we will obviously, we wanted to reference this statement that the club have made as regards that banner. I've had some pretty interesting exchanges on X tonight. Some people being quite offensive and rude about it. Some people being quite agreeing on it. Heart and Hand been Heart and Hand were actually, I think, out of order with how they responded to one of my statements, but there we go. One of my questions, but there we go. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But look, what is this club statement? This is the thing. What did the club say in reference to this banner that was unveiled by fans at the Fenerbahce game? This is the banner that's got us in so much trouble. And this is what the board had to say. And this is the board and Patrick Stewart obviously making comments. So they said, Rangers notes the outcome of the UEFA disciplinary case and the respective sanctions imposed upon the club for several issues during the recent match with Fenerbahce. Most notably, the club has been served with a suspended closure of the Copeland stand should there be any repeat of racist or discriminatory behaviour within the next 2 years. The punishment must serve as a severe and significant reminder to a small minority of supporters who bring the name of Rangers into disrepute. Any repeat of any discriminatory behaviour, and this also includes the singing of illicit songs. So guys, no more singing the Billy Boys, no more singing Follow Follow or Cry Is No Surrender, because you're going to get in trouble. In the Rangers' end of our home being closed for UEFA matches. Not only will the reputation and the finances of the club be harmed by such a punishment, but the chances of the team in a potentially key European match will also suffer enormously, while thousands of innocent fans will be unable to attend a massive fixture. I think the message, guys, is please don't sing at matches. Please sit quietly at matches. In response to displaying the racist and or discriminatory banner at the Fenerbahce game, the club can confirm that it is in the process of issuing lifetime bans to individuals responsible. Following the use of pyrotechnics at Parkhead in the Old Firm game, the club can confirm that the groups responsible for their discharge will be directly impacted by the 500 ticket reduction issued as a sanction next time the club appears in the latter stages of the Premier Sports Cup at Hampden. The club again stresses a future use of pyrotechnics at any SPFL match may lead to further sanction of 800 tickets at the latter stages of any Premier Sports Club Cup match. The strongest asset this football club has is our support, even though we treat them like shit, it should say in brackets. The club knows the overwhelming majority of our supporters will be angered by these episodes and the consequences they have for the club and its supporters. We reiterate our call for all supporters to back the team in the correct manner and to challenge those who seek to further damage the good name of Rangers. So that is the club statement. That's what the statement was. That's what they said in response to the banners that were unveiled at these games. Right, so let's talk a little bit about this, shall we? Evening to CJ, how you doing, buddy? What else have we? Look here. I mean, here we go. I think we've got some great points already in the live chat, guys. I know you guys always come with good points. Reddy says it wasn't racist. John Kerr says well done to Rangers fans who put the banner up. Pyro and fling anything at Ibrox, it's an instant ban. Janet made a comment here as well. 27% should be ashamed of themselves. Janet, in my opinion, Rangers are overreacting against our own fans while other clubs fight tooth and nail for theirs, especially the Mankey mob. Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at the Mankey mob and you've got to look at the situation where they've unveiled Hamas flags, Palestinian flags, anti-Israeli, anti-Jewish slogans at games, yet they're allowed to get away with it because those statements are political. Now, we will soon be a tourist club, says litigation. Right, look, let's put this. Let's just kind of make just a bit of a few comments on this situation. Obviously, look, the situation is that we've got to play. Unfortunately, we have to play by UEFA's rules, right? This is a UEFA competition. The Europa League, the Champions League are both UEFA competitions. UEFA set the rules, UEFA decide the rules, and whatever UEFA decide, we have to abide by, whether we like them or not. Okay. Now, does that mean what UEFA have done today is correct? Does that mean what UEFA have said today is correct? Then my honest answer to that is that it is not. That UEFA are wrong. They are wrong on all counts of what they've said in reference to that banner. First of all, therefore the club are wrong as well. The club are wrong. I have to say the board and Patrick Stewart are an absolute disgrace. They are an absolute disgrace to this club. They are an absolute embarrassment to this club with that statement today. They have not obviously stood up for the fans. They have not stood up for the club in any way, shape or form. And they've basically rolled over and basically let UEFA do whatever they want to them. Basically what's happened is, whatever the hearing is, UEFA have said, that was naughty Rangers. It was racist. You're bad boys. And Patrick Stewart and the board have bent over and said basically, yeah, we're going to bend over, do what you want to us, at the end of the day. Right, so let's get one thing straight. And I've been absolutely slaughtered for this on X by people. That banner was in no way, shape or form racist. It was in no way, shape or form discriminatory. There is no reference in any way, shape or form to race in that banner. There is no reference to Muslims. There is no reference to people of other colours. There is no reference to a particular nationality. There is no reference to any one group of people. Okay, therefore, it is not racist. Okay, racism is the decrying or the putting down or the saying of hurtful slogans or hurtful tropes against a group of a different colour, different race, different religion. That is what racism is. And that banner does not do that. So therefore, it is not racist. If you are watching and you think it is racist, please challenge me. Please challenge me. Okay. Secondly, it is not discriminatory. It does not decry, it does not say that certain groups should not have certain rights because of their sexuality, their religious beliefs, their gender, or whatever. Therefore, it is not discriminatory. Therefore, for the club to agree with UEFA and say that yes, that banner was racist and discriminatory is just plain wrong, because it was neither of those things. And the other fan media, if they want to be so pathetic, and I'm going to call out some people tonight and I'm going to say you are cowards. You are absolute cowards. You are so scared of losing your press access. You are so scared of losing your special relationship with the club that you will do nothing to call the club out on this, because you're terrified, because you're a bunch of absolute cowards. You know, that banner was not racist. It was not at all discriminatory. Was it political? Yes, it was political. It was a political statement by a group of people within our support. Okay. Now, does that mean that that banner should have been at a football match? Well, no, quite obviously not. That banner should not have been at a football match under any circumstances, because football and politics do not mix. Sport and politics need to be kept separate. Now, we criticise them for their Free Palestine, their anti-Israeli political messages that they unveil at football games. We cannot have it both ways. We cannot sit here and criticise Celtic for their Free Palestine, their Israeli genocide banners, which are political banners, if we are then going to do it ourselves. So the banner should look, the banner, what I am not saying that banner should have been at that game. Okay. I've never said, and you will not find me on any social media platform or any podcast or any video saying that banner should have been at that game against Fenerbahce or should have been unveiled at that game. But what I am saying is that it is not racist. It is not discriminatory. Therefore, the charges against us are not fair charges. You cannot say that we are racist, that we are discriminatory, if that banner is not racist or discriminatory. It is a political banner. End of story. It was making a political statement about immigration, about other minority ideas being put out and being shoved down our throats. That's what that banner was about. That is not racist. That is not discriminatory. Now, in this country, despite, and this is political, despite this current government's best efforts, there is still freedom of speech for now in this country, and people have the right to say what they want when they want, providing it is not racist or discriminatory. Yes, it should not be in a football stadium. Yes, it should not be in football, because sport and politics need to be kept separate. Unveil banners against the board. Absolutely. Do it all day long. Unveil banners slagging off the Park family. Do it all day long for me. But do not unveil political banners at a football game. Doesn't have a place there for me. That's my personal opinion. Right, let's have a look at your opinions in the live chat. I don't understand why that lot got away with their Show Israel the Red Card banner, but UEFA don't regard this as political, and that a bit political. What us? This is the situation. The unfortunate thing, Janet, is that these big organisations like UEFA, like FIFA, like the FA, like the SFA are run by a bunch of loony left woke-tards who are basically wanting to forward this woke agenda that pushes that minority rights are above everyone else's rights. That's what the situation is. And UEFA are absolute woke-tards. And there's a few of our people in the in our Rangers fan media who are also woke tards. Freedom of speech, but not at football stadiums, says litigation. Our board are an embarrassment, says Reddy. John says it's about the woke stuff that people are sick of. Grant Willis says, do you think it's a current board or the 49ers statement? I think it's the current board. I think the 49ers would take a different view on this. I really do. I think they would be more willing to stick up for the club. The fans are saying they don't want that bullshit at their club. I think there is an element of that. Now, I think there was a huge anti-reaction to the pride flag that was flown above Ibrox. I think, there's a reaction to the ITVAR that was hosted at Ibrox and was so kind of made public. Especially I think the problem with that was it was not an anti-Muslim thing. It was not a we hate Muslims. That's not at all what it was. Because that's wrong and that people don't, and we don't feel that as a supporter base. What it was I think a reaction to the fact that the church parade that the Orange Order used to hold at Ibrox was banned. And the Orange Order were banned from wearing their sashes in at Rangers Football Club, yet another group from a minority religion were allowed to do whatever they wished at the football club. It's the double standards that people are not happy with, and those double standards need to be called out. If you're going to allow Muslims to, and look, I've got no problem with this at all. I'm not saying that it shouldn't have happened. But if you're going to allow that to happen, you've also got to allow Christian festivals to take place, Hindu festivals to take place, Sikh festivals, Buddhist festivals, Rastafarian festivals. All festivals must be allowed to take place within the club. You cannot discriminate, which they are doing if they stop, which is what Rangers are doing. Rangers are acting in a discriminatory manner by banning the Orange Order parade from the ground. I'm not so site avid. That should have said avid, lol. Sure, avid. Yeah, no worries, mate. Grant Willis, ha ha ha. Stop shoving it down people's throats. I think that's the biggest thing for me, John. There is a great feeling, I think, amongst the supporter base that everybody, does not want things shoved down their throat. At the end of the day, they want to go to the football club. They want to support Rangers. They want to watch the game. They want to get behind the club. They want to get behind the team. They don't want gay pride shoved down their throat. That's the right thing to say. They don't want Islam shoved down their throat. They don't want this shoved down their throat. All they want to do is support the club, and that's the main thing. Grant Willis says a club for everyone unless you're the Orange Order. Yeah, there is. I think realistically, amongst this present board, there has been a real kind of forgetful nature towards where we come from and who we are as a club. We are a Protestant British football club that are proud of the fact that we are Protestant and we are British, and that is pride. And why can we not have pride in that fact? Why can we not be proud of being British, proud of being Protestant? That's what we should do. It was great to do them at Parkhead, John. It certainly was great to do them at Parkhead, and we haven't heard the end of it since, have we? All the excuses have been fast flowing from the other side of the city. Nobody wants banners, pyros. It's throwing an object at our club, but if we didn't want only clubs to be in Scotland that keeps getting hammered while the other clubs are getting a slap on their wrist. Yes, correct. No politics in our club, says Dado. How many supporters are in the Orange Order form all over Britain? A lot. Yeah, I think there is. Obviously, there will be a lot of Rangers fans within the Orange Order because it is obviously a Protestant organisation and this is a Protestant football club, something the present board seem to have forgotten that it is a Protestant football club. Right, let's move along. Let's get off this. I think we've done enough on this now. I don't want to talk about this anymore. All I'm going to say on the matter is the board are wrong. The board are hugely wrong on this. I think lifetime bans for people who unveiled that banner is completely over the top, absolutely massively over the top from the board. I think it's ridiculous behaviour from the board. I think they need calling out for it. And I just wished that the other fan medias that have been cowards tonight would do the same and call out the club for this very harsh punishment for some people who do not deserve a life ban. There are a lot more serious things that are done at football grounds that deserve life bans than that. Proud Scottish British Protestant here says ready. Absolutely, me too. Well, I'm not Scottish obviously, but British and Protestant, absolutely proud. There's an orange order in England. There is, John. There is a number around me. John Curry had £20 on Rangers half time, full time, brilliant. 13-2, get in there, says David. David did well there. Brilliant, David. Well done. Guys, just a reminder, please, obviously, can you smash the like button on this video? And also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please, obviously, subscribe as well. And help the channel to keep on growing. You know, we're doing well at the moment in terms of the channel. We're moving forward nicely. We're at around, I think it's 7,197 subscribers at time of recording. 3 more subscribers today gets us to 7,200. The mission, should you choose to accept it, is to help us get to 8,000 by the end of the season. That is the aim of the channel. Right, Janet says, hope to keep Nico and Hamza, but they both have to be sold. We'll be looking at 40 million upwards. Yes, it's absolutely well done, John. Thank you for hitting it. Right, look, guys, we are obviously we're coming out of this international duty portion of the season. It's the final international break. Once this international break is over, we can Dado. We'll pop that on the end, Dado, for you. There we go. How about that? We'll talk a bit of Nicholas Raskin first. We'll do Raskin. We'll do some Raskin, because I want to talk about that. Evening, Michael. And we will then talk about what we need. Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's talk about that. And I'll welcome your ideas on that. Look, you know, we've got candidates, possibles. Let's get some names and let's get some ideas and positions that we need. Let's do that, Dado. That's a great idea. Okay, right. Let's talk obviously about Nico Raskin first of all. Now, I've never ever experienced a player cause such a bloody meltdown on the other side of the city. It's quite hilarious, really. The meltdown on the other side of the city is tremendous. It is absolutely tremendous. It really is. You know, it's just, it is incredible. You know, since Nicholas Raskin made that excellent appearance and was brilliant the other night for Belgium against the Ukraine. As a reminder, guys, those who don't know, he was man of the match. He played in the 6 role, absolutely bossed the game from that 6 role, controlled the game, distributed the ball superbly, started attacks for the Belgian national team, and was part of a team that came back from a 3-1 deficit to win 3-0 on the night, and obviously, you know, get themselves out of that relegation playoff unharmed. And he was brilliant. He was absolutely superb. Now, there's reports of scouts from Champions League clubs, including Real Madrid, which I think were there watching other players, to be perfectly honest with you, you know, looking at the players on the night. And I don't think those scouts were just there to watch Nicholas Raskin. There are a number of very good footballers in that Belgium national team. You know, you have, for example, you've got, for example, Tielemans, you've got De Bruyne, you've got Lukaku, you've got Meunier, you've got Sells. There's some real quality in that team. So, you know, look, at the end of the day, they're a quality international side. But Nicholas Raskin, big D9. G'day, mate. How you doing? I think you're down in Australia. So, look, Raskin was fantastic. And he did not look out of place on a pitch with Kevin De Bruyne, with Romelu Lukaku, and with those, you know, absolutely world superstar footballers. I mean, like, if you think about Kevin De Bruyne, that guy has won the Champions League, he's won the Premier League, he's won the World Club Championship, he's played in World Cups, he's played in European Championships, he's played at the highest level in England for a long time now. You know, you look at, obviously, Romelu Lukaku, he's played for Manchester United, he's played for Chelsea, he's played for Inter Milan. You know, these are guys that have played at the very highest level, and Nicholas at no point did he look out of shape or out of form or out of place in any of those games. He looked absolutely superb. Now, the one concern, obviously, we all have now is that Nicholas obviously has been outstanding this season for us. He's been absolutely brilliant. You know, since he came back from injury, he's made that number 6 role his own. He's looking like one of the best midfielders in Scotland. He's definitely the best Belgian midfielder in Scotland. Yeah, they must have. I just don't know any Ukrainian players, mate, other than Yarmolenko, if he still plays. I don't know. I'd have to look at the Ukrainian team, mate. I just don't know any Ukrainian footballers. I just know the Belgian ones, David, because obviously they're the more famous ones. So, where was I? Yes, Raskin. So he's been outstanding for us this season. He's been outstanding not only in the league but also in the cup, in the Europa League. He's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, the performance he put on Fenerbahce away, was just brilliant. He controlled the game. He was metronomic at the back. He broke up attacks. He won his duels on the ground and in the air. He was just a phenomenal talent. Now, the worry we've all got is that how long can we hang on to Nicolas Raskin? How long can we, keep him at the club? Now, look, the thing was that obviously, we've obviously spoken very highly of Nicolas since that performance. We've talked about how good he was and we've raved about him and all that. And the meltdown from the side of the city has been absolutely hilarious. Yeah, but what's he won? What's he won? Engels has won trophies. He's won nothing. Oh, look at this and that lot. Trying to be relevant, trying to stay themselves. No, we're just saying that one of our players played really well on international duty and is playing really well this season and has been picked for one of the best international teams in Europe, and your Belgian player hasn't been picked. So what does that tell you about the relative skill level of the two players? Well, it tells you that at this moment in time, Raskin is a better player than Engels, because Raskin's getting in the national team, Engels isn't getting in the national team, which to me says you're not good enough at the moment, whereas he is. That's what it says to me. And I'm not arguing that Engels has won more trophies than Nicolas Raskin. At no point have I said, oh, Arno Engels is no good. Nicolas Raskin is the best at everything. He's won loads. Well, no, he hasn't. And I know he hasn't. So, irrelevant point. So there you go. So, shut up. Raskin is shining light just now for Rangers. Love that wee guy, says Janet. A couple of good centre-backs, says John. We'll get to that discussion, obviously. Agreed, nothing less. Grant says the players we need depends on who gets sold. Definitely need... We'll come to that point. Owen Ukraine, we've done that one. Raskin changing his diet, no more chips and mayo. Oh, man. Gutted. He's definitely the best midfielder in Scotland, no doubt. What else have we got here? Missed the shite from the monkey mob. What this out? I've just kind of filled you on that one. Meltdown on Radio Clyde. There certainly was a meltdown on Radio Clyde. Engels is pish and they know it. Engels sent home. Why? Because he's just not very good. That's why. I mean, £11 million for a guy who only scores penalties. And I mean, let's face it, how long have they been telling us that penalties don't count as proper goals? Every time we've talked about Tav and his goals to games ratio, we've had it all thrown back in our faces, of course, but a penalty's not a real goal. It's not a real goal, is it? Whereas now, when Engels and his goals are solely dependent on his penalties, all we hear is, actually, no, they do count. They're the greatest thing ever. They're the greatest thing. I mean, it's just shit. I mean, they are genuinely the most deluded fan base on planet Earth. They want everything their own way. I mean, I made a comment to someone the other day. I said, if a Rangers fan said to a Celtic fan, look, the clouds are either grey or white, they would argue with you. They'd argue they were green and blue, probably, or green and red. Anything but, kind of admit that you're right. That's just who they are. They just seem absolutely incapable of not arguing about something. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, it's almost, for me, bordering on mental illness in them. It really genuinely is. But it genuinely nearly borders on mental illness in them. It really does. But there we go. CJ says, the thing with Raskin's diet that I don't get is why it was left to him to sort. Why didn't the club sort his diet? I mean, yeah, you do hear that, don't you, CJ? That players' diets and players' ways of eating and stuff is looked after by the club, through the strength and conditioning and the dietary coaches they have at the club. Engels cost 12 mil. I think it's about 11, but yeah, 12, I'll take whatever, 12. The Mankey mob would love to have Raskin in their team. I agree. The club chef sorted his diet out. Always the victims. Absolutely, always the victims. It's never their fault. Blue Nose says, now their media friends are wanting them to bring O'Reilly back as well. I don't know how O'Reilly's getting on at Brighton. I haven't actually seen any Brighton games recently. Now, look, Raskin is... The thing with Raskin is, though, that obviously, he's going to start to attract attention. That performance for Belgium, and then obviously, looking at him playing for us, it's going to start to attract attention. It's going to start to, kind of get teams looking at him and going, yeah, we want him. We'd like him. We think he's a good player. Now, according to reports in the media, and I know the media is a place that can kind of mislead, can kind of come up with its own agenda a lot of the time. But this is English media. This is not Scottish media. It's not the Daily Rebel, or it's not those organisations that we don't trust up in Scotland. The ones that are more Celtic. that they are, it's not the Celtic-based media over there. But according to reports over in England, Leeds and Aston Villa have both expressed an interest in Nicolas Raskin. But Rangers have said that they will need a hefty fee paying for him to secure the signing of in Rangers club words, the best midfielder in Scotland. So it appears that obviously already there are interest from different parties in the Premier League. Brentford also apparently haven't expressed an interest in Raskin as well. Leeds, obviously, that depends a lot on whether they're promoted to the Premier League from the Championship. The other issue, of course, there is that if the 49ers were to buy Rangers, then how does that work with Leeds being owned by the 49ers and Rangers being owned by the 49ers? How does that work with the whole Raskin business? That I think is an interesting one. According to reports today, it is said that Rangers would want upwards of £20 million to secure the signing of Nicolas Raskin on a permanent basis. So it sounds like if a club wants to come in, wants to buy Raskin, it's going to cost them, and it's going to cost them over £20 million, which for me is about right. 20 million plus is about right for Raskin. If you consider that, O'Reilly, I think, went for 25, was it? So anything, 25 upwards is, I think, a fair price for Nicolas Raskin. That I think that has kind of set the price level. Now, I know people are going to say, well, no, it's Scotland. You're buying a player from Scotland. Well, I think we've proven, haven't we, through the sale of Jota to the Saudis, I know he's back now, and O'Reilly to Brighton that Celtic did, that you can still demand in excess of £20 million for Scottish players and get that money for them. CGNI says Cheney's having a great game for Tuchek so far. I did see something flash on my X not so long back about a great hit by Cheney. We'll have a quick look at that shortly. But Nicolas is fantastic. I mean, I absolutely love the lad. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and I think the problem we have got is that we are going to start to, see him really attract the interest of clubs all over Europe and in particular the EPL. Now, the moment you start getting the EPL interested, you're then getting clubs who can obviously afford big money and big fees for players. And that will really test Rangers' resolve to keep him. Now, the question, of course, is where are we up to with Raskin in terms of contracts? Where are we at with him, when it comes to that situation? Well, Nicolas Raskin is under contract until 2027 with Rangers, which means basically he's got 2 years. At the end of this season, he will have 2 years left on his deal. So with 2 years left on his deal, of course, that does kind of say that, we're getting to that point now where we're going to have to start to take decisive action to basically say, we either, well, it's like Grant's just said, we need to tie Raskin down or sell him. Absolutely. As I've said before, 2 years is the optimum time to go to a player and say to that player, look, we want you to stay at the club. Here's your extension to your present deal to make it into 5 years, 6 years, whatever. This is what we're offering you. This is the terms of the contract. Sign it. Please sign it. And then negotiate from that base point and see if you can negotiate a deal. So 2 years is the perfect time. If at 2 years you've decided that player is no longer for you, that you don't want to keep that player, that's when you need to start thinking about selling them. Because the moment the player enters the last 12 months of his contract, his value diminishes. Because at the end of the day, clubs will offer you what they believe he is worth to them. And you can turn around and say, well, no, I want more money for him. So let's take Raskin, for example. At the moment, we may be asking for, let's say, £25 million for him in the summer, okay? With 2 years left on his deal. It comes to next summer. There's a year left on his deal. We want £25 million for Raskin. And the clubs will turn around and go, well, you ain't getting it because he's out of contract in 12 months. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to risk it and I'm going to wait for him to come to the end of his contract, and then I'm going to go directly to him, offer him a big signing on fee, offer him big wages, and he'll come to me for nothing. Or you can take £10 million and then you won't lose him for nothing. And then automatically we've lost 15 million on the player. So, we are in that period now where something needs to be decided. Okay, we need to say to them, right, Nicholas, you are playing brilliantly well. You are doing exceptionally well. You are playing some great football. We want to keep you at this club. We know there's other clubs interested in you, but we think that you've got a big promising future with Rangers. And we also believe as well that, if you stay here, that at the end of that, in the next couple of years, if a big bid comes in from Chelsea or from Arsenal or someone like that, then we'll accept it. And we'll let you move. Now, at the moment, he's on 19 grand a week, which obviously doesn't put him as one of the higher paid players. The higher paid players at Rangers, obviously, James Tavernier, 30 grand a week. Václav Černý, 27 grand a week. Cyril Dessers, 27 grand a week. Danilo, 26 grand a week. Jack Butland, 25 grand a week. Rabbi Matondo, fuck knows how, 23 grand a week. Dujon Sterling, 22 grand a week. Tom Lawrence, who's on the bench for Wales tonight, 22 grand a week. Yanis Hadji, 21 grand a week. So Nicholas Raskin's certainly not one of the top wage earners at the club. So, if you went to him and said, right, here's 25 grand a week, stay with us for another 3 years, but I'll tell you something, if next summer a bid comes in for you and you want us to sell you, we'll let you go. Or you put a buyout in his contract. You put a buyout clause in his contract. You say, okay, Nicholas, you sign a new contract and we're going to put a 30 million buyout clause in your contract. So if anybody comes in and matches that offer, we'll talk to them. You do that. Now, if Raskin says, no, I don't want to sign that contract, I'm not going to sign the deal, I'm not prepared to accept that, I want this, or I don't want a new contract, then unfortunately, we will have to say in the summer, sorry, we're going to have to sell you because we can't afford to allow you to run your contract down. We can't afford to be sitting here in 2 years' time. You walk for nothing and we get nothing back for what we've given you in wages, for what we've paid for you, etc., etc. So it's coming to that point where we've got to kind of try and tie Nicholas Raskin down to a new contract, because if we don't, then he is going to walk for nothing. And unfortunately, because it's the 2-year period now, this is the summer to do it. We've got to sit down with him, try and get a contract into him. If we can't get a contract out of him, then we go to him and we go, sorry, mate, we're going to have to sell you. Okay? Because unfortunately, that's the way it works these days. And that is how it does work. And, I don't particularly like that. I don't particularly want to do that. I want to keep hold of Raskin. Of course I do. But we are at that point where we have to start to make a decision on these players. And we can't constantly be taking players into the last 12 months, 6 months, 18 months of their deals and losing vast sums of money on them. Because if we're genuinely serious about player trading model, which I think we still are, even under new owners, they're not going to tolerate losing massive amounts of money. And that's what the player trading model, is aimed to get around. It's aimed to obviously bring players in when they reach the maximum of their value and other clubs want them. That's when you sell them. Yes, it's not ideal. Yes, I'd prefer to keep Nicholas Raskin. But unfortunately, that's where we're up to at this moment in time. Let's get some of your comments. Dado says, Raskin run down his other contract. That was at Standard, wasn't it? At Liège. Would give Raskin a better contract. Need to get him tied down. Yeah, absolutely, Janet, we do. Yes, we have to do that with Raskin. Obviously, I think saying that we do need to give him a new deal or say to him, we're going to sell you. If Raskin wants to leave, then he can always put a sell-on clause in his new deal. That's what I was just saying. Put a 30 mil in his new deal. The moment that's matched, he can go. Funny how all our midfielders have improved since Barry came in. I mean, look, let's face it. If you're working for Barry Ferguson, who is, widely regarded as probably one of the best midfielders in Rangers history, ex-captain of Rangers, won everything there is to win, played down south, great midfielder, great player, you are going to develop. You are going to get better if you listen to him and you do what he asks you to do and play how he wants you to play. John says, offer him a new contract. If he says no, we'll have to sell. Juicy Bear Gaming, welcome, mate. Says, sell in the summer to maximise earnings, something the club have been terrible at previously. Absolutely, we have. We've been terrible at that. Obviously, Kamara, Morelos, Kent, names that spring to mind on that one. Wonder if Rangers are wanting to keep Černý. They'll be working on a deal to see. Yeah. Now, what I've heard on that is that apparently we are interested in keeping hold of Černý. We do want him to stay. And there is talks ongoing over that one. 8 million apparently from Wolfsburg. John says if he says no, we have to sell him. Absolutely, make the money we can. Kent, Morelos and Butland are the examples of not selling at the right time. Exactly, and if Raskin isn't willing to sign a new contract, we need to start thinking about selling him now. And it is, look, that may seem really harsh and really mercenary, negative, not great, not going to help the team. But unfortunately, that's where you are. That's where we are as a club. That's what we need to do as a club now. is actually look at how we can maximise the value of the players. Blue Nose says Raskin angered Ronnie Delia with his contract shenanigans at his previous club. So, he's got a little bit of history there that we need to get over. We need to get around. We need to go to him now, I think, this summer and say, this is your new contract. Please sign it. If he doesn't sign it, then we look at moving him on. And that's bad because losing a player like Raskin is going to be a massive hole to fill, isn't it? Huge hole to fill. World Cup qualifiers. Czechia currently 1-0 up in Gibraltar. Václav Černý has scored for Czechia, apparently. So well done to him. Excellent. Well done, Mr. Černý. The Morocco game kicks off at 9:30 tonight. 9:30. No news on lineups yet. I can see. Let's have a look. That's Tanzania. Is that the game tonight? That's the game from the other day. Yes, the game from the other day. Nothing on lineups from the game yet on that one. I'd be looking to get 30 mil for Raskin plus 20% sell-on. I think that's a good plan as well. Put a sell-on into any deal that we secure with the likes of Villa or Leeds or Brentford or a Spanish club or a German club that we put a sell on in. I think that's the best policy. Raskin, I think, is a player who is still going to get better. He is still going to improve, and we need to avoid obviously losing money on him. Love Raskin, but the club and the team need to come before any one player, says Janet. And that's the thing, Janet. You're right. Something that the James Tavernier fanboys and fangirls seem to forget. No player is bigger than the club. No player is bigger than this club. This club is it. It is one of the biggest clubs in world football. We have a global appeal. We are a giant club, and as such, no player, and that includes James Tavernier, is bigger than this club. The club have to have talks with Raskin at the end of the season. They do, absolutely, this summer. Look at it. I mean, I think the problem we've got, John, is very much that, all contract talks and talk around new deals and selling players is going to have to go on hold for the moment until the takeover is done, because at the end of the day, the new owners will want to say, the new owners will want to have their input on this. They'll have to sign off on new deals. They'll have to sign off on signings. They'll have to sign off on sales. And until the new owners are in place, there's not a lot we can do as a football club. We've just kind of got to jog on to the end of the season and hope this takeover gets done sooner rather than later, so decisions can obviously start to be made. It's like I said on the short video I put out earlier, the short video that I put out earlier. This is going to be a busy summer for Rangers. We need a manager. I put a video out this morning on that one. Greta Steinson probably going to lead the managerial hunt for the club, looking at someone to bring in. And there's a number of candidates obviously out there. We're also going to need a sporting director as well. That's something that Patrick Stewart talked about in that interview he gave as the result of that internal inquiry that's going on, or the internal investigation, or whatever you want to call it, that's going on at the moment. So we do need a sporting director. We need a head of academy as well. We also need a new director of the academy, a technical director for the academy, because as some of you may have seen today, that Zurab Almiron, who is the very highly rated academy director that we had now, has stepped down from his position and is no longer the academy director at Rangers. He's left the club. He was appointed by Zeb Jacobs. Obviously, Zeb went off to work for Feyenoord. Almiron has also gone now as well. And I know Almiron was quite highly thought of at the club. However, he has departed. So, look, at the end of the day, that's another position that now needs to be filled. Whoever gets the job, we've got a lot of people out there now that are going to be, looking at this club and saying there's a lot of jobs going at Rangers. There's a lot of possibility there. And the new owners have got a real chance to actually come in and really put their own sort of stamp on this, haven't they? In terms of who gets appointed, the type of player, type of manager they want. I mean, I think it's going to be a cascade thing, personally. I think we'll get a sporting director first, then a manager, and then they'll go through the academy, because I think what they'll want is the manager to have an input on who the academy director is and who the academy manager is, because whoever is at the academy will have to follow a very similar style of football to whatever the manager plays. So, that's, I think, something they'll be looking at, when it comes to it. So, I think they will play a part in that. Grandma says, to be honest, if you want to wrestle the league back from them, then we need to keep our best players and add 3 or 4 quality additions. We are getting to that. As soon as the 49ers take over, they need to start making this team stronger from day one. Agreed, Janet. We do need to hit the ground running when it comes to signings and get down to it ASAP. Michael White says, don't think the Americans will take any nonsense because of their investment. If you're not any good, you're out. I've got to say, the 49ers, as an organisation, do have a ruthless streak. You've only got to look at what's going on in America at this moment in time. They have got rid of a substantial number of high-earning players from their roster. I know some of these names will not mean anything to some people, but Deebo Samuel, who was one of their top wide receivers, he has been traded away. Floyd, who was an edge rusher, he's been got rid of. Talanoa Hufanga, who was one of their top safeties, he's gone. Dre Greenlaw, one of their top linebackers, he's gone. So the Niners have really cut their spending over in America and got rid of all their players. Now, the players they've got rid of are older players who were on big contracts and who were injury-prone players. So does that kind of give you a little bit of a guide as to the types of player they're going to be looking at shipping out of Rangers? You know, maybe it is. Maybe it does say, you know what, we don't want these players if they're old, if they're injured all the time. These are not players for us. We want rid of them. And that's certainly what they're doing in America. You know, they are getting rid of that type of player from the 49ers roster this season. And it's caused a bit of consternation amongst the 49er faithful. You know, some of those players, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, Deebo Samuel, were, you know, very certainly highly thought of by the fans. So, you know, it's caused a few issues, John Kerr says Rangers are massive for whoever takes over. Absolutely, we are massive, huge club. Now, Dado said about what players do we need to get in? You know, what do we need to do between now and obviously next season? Well, look, I think, you know, as someone pointed out a few minutes ago, it is going to be very much dependent on who goes, who stays. That's going to be very much a situation that, you know, we're going to look at who goes, who stays at the club. That will influence obviously who we buy, you know. But if we kind of talk about what position we massively need at this moment in time, I mean, look, I can't talk about players in particular because I haven't done any scouting. I haven't looked at any players and said, oh, we need player X, we need player Y, we need this player, we need that player. Because I, haven't done any massive scouting or any really looking into it yet. Obviously, you know, we know that Lyle Cameron is coming in. Lyle Cameron will join the club in the summer. So that's obviously adding a midfielder to the club. So that's a positive that Lyle Cameron's coming in. But, you know, in terms of other positions we need to address, you know, what do you guys think? Obviously, in the live chat, let me know. You know, let me know your opinions on this. You know, for me, personally speaking, I think we need a right back to back up Dujon. I think James Tavernier has kind of come to the end of his usefulness at the club. I think he will have to be moved on at the end of the season. I think we need a centre-back to play alongside John Suter. I think if we can get one, maybe two centre-backs in, certainly one centre-back in, that will hurt. That will help. Sorry, not hurt. That will help. You know, we really need someone who's going to come in, who's going to dominate, who's going to take over, who's going to be strong at the back, who's going to be, you know, a real commanding centre-half presence, because certainly Robin Proper is not that, is he? Robin Proper's poor. Robin Proper is very poor. I think he's a player that does need to be shipped out in the summer. But, you know, if we can go into next summer with next season, with John Suter, a new signing, Leon Balogun, Clinton and Ciala, as a very minimum, then that's a decent core of centre-backs. And I would give Big Leon a new deal. I would definitely give Big Leon a new deal. I think we need another number 6, someone to give Raskin games off. You know, we can't be expecting Raskin to go and really, you know, play 50, 60 games a season and stay at a constant level. So I don't think, unless you're going to give Bailey Rice a go, that you've really got a situation there where, you know, you can look at that and say we have already got a 6. We've got Lyle Cameron coming in, obviously, which obviously caters for one midfield spot. I think we need a winger. I think we need a centre forward for definite. I think we need to sell Dessers in the summer, because not because he doesn't score goals, not because he doesn't do well, because he's doing very well at the moment, but because he's reached now, I think, the peak of his value. He ain't going to get any better at this point. He's only going to go downhill. His value is only going to decrease. He's 30 years old. This is the perfect time to get some money back on him, to get £4.5, £6 million back for him at that point. So then we've got Danilo, we've got Igaman, and if we can go and get someone else to come in and play alongside them, someone who's going to put 25, 30 goals away a season, you know, then certainly that is going to help. And I think will put us in a really good stead when it comes to chasing that lot down. Because, you know, one of the things I think that we've suffered with, particularly in those games against the lesser teams where we've lost, is we haven't been clinical in front of goal. We haven't put chances away when we needed to. You know, had we done some of that, perhaps we wouldn't be as far behind them as we are now. You know, someone like a Sam Dolby wouldn't be a bad buy. An Olasanya from St Mirren. You know, someone who understands the league would be good, I think, at this stage, in terms of that centre forward, for definite. Let's have a look at some of your comments now. Let's get back to your comments, guys. Remember, I can't put your comments up on the screen. That's why I put the live chat on the screen. Michael White says, don't think I've had that point. John Kerr, had that point. Grant Willis says, for the 49ers to make money out of Rangers, they need to make the team capable of holding their own in the Champions League. Absolutely, that will be a big thing that the Niners will be considering. You know, they need us to get into the league phase. They need us to play in that. They need to get the revenue from that, because I know, you know, we all know that one of the biggest attractions of taking over Rangers was the European football, because obviously they understand with Leeds that it's going to take them time to get to a level where they can compete for European football in the Premier League. But for Rangers, it's a lot easier to get into the Premier League, isn't it? You know, because of the situation surrounding in Scottish football that Celtic and Rangers dominate. John Kerr says the 49ers have to give at least a season to get it right. They do. Owen, got to be cruel to be kind. If players are old or don't fit our structure, they need to go. It's simple as that. We do need a kind of lack of sentimentality. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, one of the things that has always kind of held Rangers back in recent times is the fact that we are a little too sentimental, that we are a little too, you know, well, he's done really well for us, and he's been great in the past, and he's got a great record for us, and his stats are amazing, and we should definitely keep hold of him, and we can't sell him now, and we need to keep hold of him, and yada 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 yada, and it just makes me sick. You know, we don't need that. But, you know, we do need to be a bit more cruel, I think, and a bit more decisive in selling players. Dada says we need a left back, a right back, and a centre back. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think, Dado, therefore, are you envisaging one of Hjefte or Ridvan leaving? Because I think if we've still got Hjefte and Ridvan, and Robbie Fraser comes back, we don't really need a left back. So are you envisaging one of Ridvan or Hjefte leaving? Janet says, no harm to Proper, but he needs to go ASAP. He's not got the bottle to play for Rangers. Blue Nose says, I think Lyle will be a very good signing. He's a good goal scorer from the 10 position. Great, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, he looks a good footballer. He does look a good footballer, definitely. Dada says 3-5-2 system with attacking midfield players. So he wants, obviously, I think, Barry to stay in place and play the 3-5-2. We need more pace and power throughout the team. We do need a lot more pace throughout the team. One thing that Rangers lack massively is pace. We don't have anywhere near enough pace, so I agree with you on that one. Pace is a key component. Sign Josh Sargent from Norwich. He's a good target man, says Gorguts. Decent. Danilo has to go. Sorry, guys, skipping through. Danilo has to go. He's been poor. Kieran Dow. Yeah, we can sell Kieran Dow. Gorguts, absolutely. Not a good record with players from Norwich. Gorguts is pointed out as well by Grant. Dave says, how much difference do you think a new captain would make, Owen? Personally, I think Tyrant Raskin would do wonders for this team the way McGregor was during 55. I think that's a good shout, mate. I think having a new captain, a real leader on the park, will be very good for the club. You know, definitely is a good shout on that one. And I think, you know, for me personally, you look at Raskin when Raskin was captain of Rangers for the time when Tav was out. We did better. I honestly think we did better. You know, when Raskin wasn't the captain anymore, and the captaincy went back to Tavernier, we didn't play anywhere near as well. So I think, yeah, Raskin would be a great captain. John Kerr says, get Lennon Miller from Motherwell. Gorgut says, yeah, Lennon Miller is a good shout. He'd link up well with Cameron, probably. The only thing I'll say on Lennon Miller is I think we could have probably got him last summer, but I don't think we'll get him this summer. I think Lennon Miller will move south of the border. I think he'll move for a lot of money. So I don't think that's a realistic one at this point. Sell Ridvan. So Dada says, sell Ridvan. I think there is a market for Ridvan in Turkey, mate. You know, there is a market for it. Janet says, agreed, everybody loves Palagan, but when your time's up, your time's up. The only thing I'd say, Janet, is I'm saying as a backup, not as a regular start. He started way too many games this season for his age. So I wouldn't be playing him as much. John Kerr says, get rid of Matondo as well. I think he's definitely on the boot out list. Raskin is always in the ref's ear. Where's Tav, says David Hutchinson. Yeah, I mean, that's something Raskin does. Raskin is very much like Kalmak from that aspect, isn't he? That he's in ref's ears, that he's giving giving it 6-0 against them. He's giving it the hassle against them. So, yeah, I agree with that one. On that one, yeah. Glad John Kerr said Lennon from Motherwell, not Dunfermline. Reference to obviously Neil Lennon, the new Dunfermline manager. We don't want him at the club, do we? Definitely not. Celtic fan through and through, as he is. Dirty Celtic fan. We don't like him. But yeah, look, I think there's a number of positions that need to be addressed in this transfer window, and I think for the board and for the new board, the 49ers, Parag Marathe, Andrew Kavanagh. Obviously for Niels Koppen and whoever the new manager is, the priority will be addressing addressing the priorities, looking at what the priorities are. I mean, I would say priorities for me at this moment in time are centre-back for definite, striker for definite, winger for definite. Absolutely. Yeah, I heard Southampton are in for Lennon Miller, 9 million. Also Everton. I mean, the thing that goes against Southampton, Gorguts, is they're likely to be relegated to the Championship this season, whereas Everton are unfortunately likely to stay in the Premier League. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to see I would love to see Everton get relegated and open their new stadium in the Championship. I would absolutely cry laughing at them. Pathetic little club that they are. Blue Nose John says Tav is too quiet and too nice to be a captain. I think that's one of the weaknesses of him. You know, he doesn't do that, and he doesn't certainly lead by example as much this season. He's not putting up the numbers that he was in the past. That was what was saving him as a captain. Patterson's coming back, says Dado. Maybe Nathan Patterson coming back, possible, but his injury history is not good, mate. That's the one thing I would say. I don't think he would fit what the 49ers would look for in a player. You know, they look for young players, they look for fit players with good injury histories. He hasn't got a good injury history. That is the one thing that's going to go against him. I think Motherwell looking for 5 million upwards for Miller. And look, as much as the fact we're going to have more money, which we will. We'll have 20 to 25 million plus whatever we raise in player sales. We're not going to have a huge amount of money to be able to go and splash the cash ridiculously, are we? That's not going to happen. Remember all the people saying give Kemar a new deal? Yeah, Kemar Roof was just a disaster, mate, wasn't he? Mr. Glass. Everton don't pay, still waiting on money for Patterson. Yeah, I mean, they will. Yeah, they will pay, mate. They will pay now that the Friedkin group are taken over. They have got very rich owners. The guy who owns it, I think he's John Friedkin or Brian Friedkin. I'm not sure what his name is. He is a multi-billionaire, American multi-billionaire. Gorgut says, oof, not a Toffees guy though. No, certainly not, mate. I have fucking hate Everton with a passion. My youngest daughter is an absolute huge Liverpool fan. So no, I couldn't ever want Everton to do well because of the fact my youngest daughter is a massive Liverpool fan. So no, definitely not. Look, the majority of teams I dislike. Obviously, I mean, I hate Celtic, I hate Aberdeen with passion. I don't like Dundee United either. But there's English clubs I hate as well. I hate Everton. Absolutely can't stand Everton. I hate Coventry City, as you all know. I hate Manchester United with a passion, definitely. So there you go. Bruno says, is Danilo Roof Mark II? I mean, that's the big concern, isn't it? Danilo is look, I don't kind of say, funny Grant, funny. I don't say to you that he's a massive, talent, but I think he's a good footballer. His goals to games ratio and his goals to minutes ratio is actually quite good this season when he's been fit to play, but his injury is genuinely shit. His injury history is awful, and it's something he does need to put right if he's going to prove that money. If he's going to actually obviously say that money, show that he's worth the money that we paid for him. Grant Willis says, give us our freaking money then. Funny. Nobody knows Motherwell want you to make an offer. John No says, I hate Liverpool, horrible club. Sorry you feel that way. Fair dues, Owen, says Dave. Aldo says, don't agree, it's against free speech. Lol. I mean, I did say at the start of the podcast, Aldo, I did say at the start of this podcast, I did actually say, look, at the end of the day, yes, Janet, my oldest daughter is a Rangers fan. My 17-year-old, Becca, she's a Rangers fan, mate. She's a big Rangers fan. She wants a Rangers shirt and she wants to come to a game with me. So, yeah, she's a big Rangers fan. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying now. Yeah, I did say at the start of the podcast that, please come and offer your thoughts, your comments, your opinions. Place where you won't be banned for life for having an opinion. Unless, of course, you're a Celtic fan and you will be banned for life. Yeah. Gorguts, who's my favourite English team? Mate, there's a few English teams I like. Not as much as Rangers. Obviously, Rangers are my team. I've got a soft spot for Liverpool because my youngest daughter's a Liverpool fan. Got massive respect for Newcastle United as a team. Huge team, massive team. So there you go. Dad job done, mate, lol. Hate Man United and City, says Dado. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of either of those. I mean, Man City, I hope they get found guilty of the 115 charges. I think that's going to be hilarious. Janet says, tell Becca, well done. I'll tell Becca, well done. Absolutely well done. But look, guys, we're at, I don't know about you, but it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a Rangers fan, I feel. We're obviously going to get a new manager. We're going to get new players. We're getting new owners. It's a big one. It's a big one, isn't it? We are moving forward as a club, and it's big. It's huge that we're moving forward as a club. And I think there's a genuine excitement. And look, that lot across the city can scoff and they can take the piss as much as they want about winning a treble this season, about us winning nothing this season. But, we kind of push them to one side and we just say, look, at the moment, we couldn't give a monkey's what you're saying, because at this point in time, you're not going to piss on our bonfire. You're not going to piss in our chips, because this is a club that is heading in a new direction. This is an exciting time to be a Rangers fan. We are getting new owners who have genuine ambition. We are going to have new players coming into the club. We're going to have players going out. We're going to have money coming into the club finally. It's an exciting time to be a Rangers fan. It really, really is. Aldo says Newcastle United clap. Stuart Hannison says banned for life, lol. John Kerr says Liverpool don't know if they like Rangers or them. Can he make their mind up? Alexander Arnold, overrated. Real Madrid drop their standards. He's good going forward, Aldo, but he's crap at defending. Go on Chelsea, says John Kerr. David says, can't wait till next season. Agreed. Vega is a free agent, I think, says Gorguts. I'll never like a club who sing You Never Walk Alone, says Blue Nose. Well, to be fair, I did slag Celtic off the other day and asked them why they were singing a Liverpool song and could they not come up with their own song. Without new owners, I would be absolutely depressed right now, says Aldo. I think we all would, Aldo. I think we'd all be kind of going, Jesus Christ, this present board are going to appoint the new manager. They're going to then obviously give the new manager no money in the summer, and we're going to go into next season worse than we were with this season. So I think there would be that feeling, wouldn't there, if this present board were going to continue on. So yeah, look, at the end of the day, we've got to obviously... that mob are just song thieves, Blue Nose. They are absolute song thieves. They've got nothing original, have they? But apparently they are bringing out that We Nearly Took Bayern Munich to Extra Time video. That is coming out very soon on VHS, apparently, because Celtic fans can't work DVDs. Too complicated for them. They can only work reel-to-reel projectors. Okay, guys, thank you for watching the International Break podcast tonight. Hopefully that's alleviated the boredom for a little bit. As always, guys, it's been a pleasure speaking to you here on the pod tonight, the International Break podcast. Please, obviously, comment, like, share the video. Subscribe as well if you haven't already done so, as we head towards 7,200 subscribers, aiming for 8K by season's end. Thank you for watching. And on the way out, please remember, never forget, we are the people.